SPX6900 is going up again. It almost doubled in the last month. The question is, how much higher can this go? Let's have a look at who's buying here, who's selling here. Let's try to figure out how solid this rally is. Let's see whether or not it still makes sense to buy SPX6900. Now we're currently at $1.22. We went up by 94% in the last month. And among the trending tokens on Ethereum, the SPX token is at number 5 with a liquidity pool of almost 17 million. Now this is not the first video on SPX6900 on this channel. I've published several videos and I want to share the YouTube analytics. How popular is the token actually over time? So here is video number 1, which was published 96 days ago. It initially underperformed the average video. Then the token got some traction and the video became an average performer. Another video followed, again an average performer. Video number 3 was an outperformer. So over time, more and more people bought into the token, broadening the audience. And of course, if there's a bigger audience, then YouTube also tends to spread the token more and recommends it to more people. The next video that followed was again just average. But here we are again. The token is due for an update. The last video was 60 days ago. Again, outperforming. Now here's why it's so important to be early in crypto, right? Most gains are made when the token is still relatively new. The very first video was published when the token was still at around 10 cents. Now we are at $1.22, so more than a 10x. And so I try to publish videos early on this channel on trending meme coins that have more upside potential. If you want to be early next time, feel free to subscribe over here. Now what's causing the recent price rally? Why are we up 25% today? It is not just the whales that are buying in. This seems to be somewhat broader. So there's more than 60% buyers versus 40% sellers. So more buyers than sellers means the price is rising if the amounts that the buyers buy and the amounts that the sellers sell is somewhat equal. Now on chain, we've got almost 30,000 holders, but not all of those holders are created equal. Some of those holders might just have a few cents of the token. Others might hold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of the token. So let's dive in deeper. What we've got over here is the number of retail investors on the left and the number of whale investors on the right. And the chart in the middle is something in between. We make this distinction by minimum holding thresholds. So what I consider a retail investor on the Ethereum chain is a wallet that holds at least 1,000 SPX tokens. At the current price, that's a bit over $1,000. In the middle, it's 10,000 tokens, and on the right, it's 100,000 tokens. Now here we can see something very interesting. Small money tends to be somewhat late. Small money continues to buy, and the growth happened in 2 waves, with most of the purchases happening since September of last year. Once the wallet balance is 10x larger than that, we again see those 2 waves, but we can see how the second wave is comparatively speaking smaller. In other words, the people with more money tend to be earlier. They tend to make the smarter purchases when the market cap is still relatively low. Now the whales that have $100,000 minimum holding of the token, they buy everything in the first wave, and we can barely see the second wave. We didn't even see an all-time high in October of last year. We had more wallets in November 2 years ago, and that's very different to small retail. Small retail still continues to accumulate, while the whales since October of last year tend to rather sell. We also see now how the number of new users tends to be larger than the number of returning users on any given day. In other words, the investor base isn't growing that quickly anymore, relatively speaking. Here are the number of buyers and sellers per day. Again, we see those 2 attention waves. And yes, in the last weeks, we tended to see more buyers than sellers, relatively speaking. The same that we are seeing today. But when the number of whales at the same time tend to rather decline, the upside is somewhat limited. Now, most gains are to be made when a token is still new, when it's not owned by the market makers yet, when it's not owned by the centralized exchanges yet. It's much better to buy a token like Fartcoin, for example, for 4 cents or for 5 cents. So have a look at this. This is Kyle Chessy that bought 20K of Fartcoin on the 23rd of October of last year. That was over here. Since then, the price appreciated by more than 2,000%. Here is Kyle Chessy. He's a YouTuber. He's got 141,000 subscribers. And we are tracking 12 of his wallets. So through on-chain analytics, we found out some of his wallets, and we always get an alert whenever he is buying or selling something. So of course, when he makes a big purchase and then he announces this across his community and everybody buys in afterwards, this can create quite a bit of a flywheel effect. This can create a lot of momentum. And so being early with purchases like this, right? Tracking the influencers directly and seeing when they are buying and selling is real alpha. This is, I believe, where we can actually beat the market. Now, Kyle Chessy has a bit of a venture capitalist approach. So not every token that he buys will do a 2000% return. He does buy many tokens and some of them simply just go to zero. The idea is simply that the winners are so large in their magnitude that they can make up for many, many losses. If you've got one 2000% winner, then you can afford to have 80% of losing bets simply because the other 20% make that much of profit. But we are not just tracking Kyle Chessy. We are also tracking Crypto Banter. That YouTube channel has 1.1 million subscribers, so they definitely create a lot of attention and purchases with the video. We've got 33 of their wallets. We're also tracking more DeFi focused channels like Bankless, for example. We've got 2 of their wallets and we're trying to find new wallets daily. Now there's a tutorial course discussing how to find influencer wallets, how to then also track them and how to finally interpret the signals that we get from the tracking. It's 8 videos in total and it's all part of the premium membership of this channel. It's down below, thebitcointrader.com. Premium is not just about wallet tracking, it's also about on-chain analytics. It's also about risk mitigation, more than 100 tutorial videos in total. Once we've got a buy signal by the wallets, we of course also have to discuss what should we copy trade, when should we exit, etc. That's why we've got dedicated chats on the individual altcoins as well. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $165 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, in case you don't learn anything, etc., feel free to just message me within the first week and I will refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. Now, does it still make sense to buy SPX6900 now? Let's have a look at relative market caps. Let's see how much potential upside there is. Because of any meme coin, we've got a lot of risk and that risk needs to be justified with sufficient upside. Now here's an overview of various meme coins. The largest of all of the meme coins is Dogecoin with a market cap of 50 billion. SPX6900 has a bit over 1 billion. Now Dogecoin is truly an outlier. The same can be said for Shiba Inu and for Pepe. The top 3 meme coins haven't really changed in the last years and it would be surprising to see a change, at least in the near future. So really the tokens that tend to rotate are below the top 3 and so the maximum upside might be beating AI16Z, which would be roughly a 2x, a bit more than a 2x from here. So probably the maximum price that SPX6900 can reach without the air getting too thin would be at around $2.50. And the question is, will the number of retail investors grow fast enough for the whales to stay somewhat positive and not sell off that quickly anymore? A lot of the price discovery now happens also off-chain on the centralized exchanges. So we've got 21% of trading volume on Gate.io and another 13% on Bybit. Only afterwards comes Uniswap with 12%. What's probably really moving the price most recently is the perpetual futures market. So the levered bets on the price, the derivative market. When you're buying SPX6900 via derivative on Binance, then Binance has to hedge that position to some degree, either with their own market making position or alternatively by buying the token directly on chain. Now there has been more than 100 million of trading volume in the last 24 hours. That's not massive, it's not unheard of, but it's definitely the main driver of the price right now. There is leverage in the price. And yes, that leverage could increase further, but it's definitely not just organic growth that's currently moving the price up. I'm not so sure if it still makes sense to buy the token when the maximum upside is maybe a 2.5x from here. I think the real opportunity is again in the tokens that are much smaller in market cap. Buying a token when the influencers are still buying, for example, over here, right, still at 60 cents, that's, I believe, the right time. Now the influencers tend to rather sell the token. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers.